one thing I forgot to mention throughout the video is that we actually have a daily bearish divergence and that it has confirmed. Now, it is obviously possible that it doesn't really give you a large move. So when I talk about the lower zones that price could go to throughout the video, make sure you understand, like, again, it could happen from here, it could happen from here, it could happen from wherever it happens from. But you'll see in the video when I talk about the higher levels as well, if you get something like this on the daily time frame, which is a scenario that I'm discussing, look out for that. That's all I'm gonna say. So we had this trade in the Nexus that played out absolutely perfectly. I was screaming at everyone to keep your eye on 69.5. I've given video updates many times, might I add, throughout the last few days. So if you are not really knowing what's going on with Bitcoin lately, then I suggest you click the link in the description down below and join the Nexus. Shout out to the Nexus. That's the only time I'm going to show that this video. All right. What's going on with Bitcoin? Well, I'll tell you this. I don't make predictions anymore, okay? I simply have zones that I am looking... I'm getting a call. Sorry. I'm simply getting... I simply have zones that I am looking to trade. And then when I see the reactions, or when I see the confirmations at those zones, then I will take that trade. So, you know, when we took this trade here at 69.5, I also mentioned how I think that this may be a longer term trade, not necessarily just targeting this low. And I want to go over that here, okay? If you remember in the last video, remember on the live streams, by the way, let me just add as well, I took this trade literally on my last live stream. So make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell so that when I go live, when we're in levels like this, you can trade with me. Not financial advice. I'm 5'2" 3/4 and I'm a wannabe singer. Don't listen to me. I have no idea what I'm doing. All right. We made a case for why this liquidity, which I do believe is going to get tapped, the 70.1 liquidity, I do believe that this is going to get tapped. We made a case that this guy is not going to get tapped just yet. And why? I'm going to make it very simple. My thought process, that is, and break it down to the bare bones of it. Why do I not think 70.1 is going to get tapped right now? Simply for the reason that the longs have not been tested on this entire move up. You know, we've been making videos for the past, 2 weeks or so talking about this very big move. I talked about how my line in the sand is 70.1 and we need to, with conviction, break above 70.1 in order for me to, assume that, okay, maybe the low of the range is not in. Because, long story short, your structure on the higher term time frame still is bearish, okay? You had low, you had high, you had low, and all this is internal, right? None of this matters. That's all internal. So you're allowed to come up to this high. You're probably going to come up to this high. Who keeps calling me? You're probably going to come up to the high eventually, but I don't think that time to come for the high is quite yet, okay? And the simple reason is because I think that a lot of people, everybody and their mother, is drawing this, bear flag, whatever, bull flag, trend line at the high here, whatever. And I think that a lot of people are expecting this to break this time. Sentiment is through the roof. The FAG index is like 75% or something, even though 2 weeks ago it was at like 30. So people are mad emotional. And we've been talking about how there's going to be kind of like, it's election time, right? So it's going to be crazy moves. It's going to be extremely volatile moves. And I believe that both sides are going to get wrecked. Okay, I don't think that it's just the shorts, which have been getting rinsed, that are going to die. I think that the longs, the over-aggressive, overly confident longs, are also going to get rinsed. And I believe that now is the time, because although we do have a lot of liquidity above 70.1, keep in mind, all these longs, that none of them have been tested. Every single Asia Open, you can just 100x long with the Asians and be given free money. And the problem with that, and when you don't come and test anything, is number one, you're leaving liquidity below. Fine, we have liquidity above as well, so that's not enough to justify it. However, you're giving the longs a chance to take profit on this high, which many will, if you attack those longs, as opposed to getting a pullback like we have already and, potentially shaking out some of the longs before ultimately the order flow objective is hit, which I believe is this high, okay? Because obviously there's a lot of liquidity there. So that was the thought process of coming into here. Now, we came into a 4-hour order block, okay? We came into a very key level while we had divergences, and, we understood the narrative. We built the narrative ahead of the time. The Nexus knew. I said it on stream as we were up here. Again, so hit the notification bell hit the subscribe button with the notification bell. So we had the idea that we could get a swing short from there. We had an idea, whatever. We took profit on the short. We're kind of struggling now. We're getting wicks. We're forming this little shitty range. Who cares? Whatever. What do I think might happen now? Well, like I said, I think that they're going to start attacking some longs. And if you're just like objectively, okay, we're going to hide all the TA. We're going to hide all the TA. Let's hide it. objectively speaking, right? If you just look at this chart, and we're only analyzing this last leg, guys, anything else is kind of whatever. Objectively, in this last leg, where are the important points, right? You could draw it. So you have low, you have high, 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 whatever. We tackled this low, but I mean, look, I'm not saying that it's not a good low. It is definitely a low, and there definitely were stop losses below here. But again, if you just follow the flow of it, like what flows more, right? I would say this low. So in my opinion, this low gotta go, okay? I think it's gonna go, and I'll go over why I think it's gonna go. Now, I can't predict that it's going to go. I don't know. But what I can say is that if I have a level here to long, and that level for the long is going to be targeting the high, and then that high, and then potentially 70.1 or potentially higher if, you know, we don't see any signs of rejection. However, if we fail this zone, like I can't predict if we're going to fail or if we're going to succeed it, but if we fail this zone, then I do believe we're coming down lower to potentially $62.5 thousand. Now that sounds scary, but it's not that scary, because keep in mind, if you've been long, then you've been given free longs this entire way up. So, you know, the world doesn't work like that, where they just hand you free money for absolutely zero reason whatsoever. And so that's something that you need to take into consideration when you're doing your analysis, right? You can't swing, in my opinion. Look, you can do whatever you want, but in my 5'2" 3/4" wannabe singing, non-financial opinion giving opinion, you cannot open a swing long here and target 100K like the internet is going absolutely bananas over. You can't do that. Right? This is not a swing level. Maybe at 63.5, if it stops, maybe is a swing level. Okay? What if it doesn't stop? What if it doesn't stop, right? We have look, at the end of the day, this is the way I trade. We have levels like we did here. If I have the confirmations, I take the trade. If I don't, then I don't, right? It's quite simple. It's not that hard to wrap your head around. And that's the same with the longs, right? If we come down and you don't get the confirmations or whatever, whether it's market cipher, whether it's market structure, however you decide to enter, whether it's exo charts, however you decide to enter, if you don't get the confirmations, like for me, I don't take the trade. Okay, fine. What happens if we lose these levels? Well, what did we say in terms of our structure, right? I mean, really, it comes down to structure. Structure right now is bearish. You have, this is your high and this is your low, and everything else is internal. But if we were going to play the internal structure, what do you have on the more macro of it? You have low, you have high, you have low, you have high, you have low, you have high. Now, this is the internal structure, assuming that your external structure is still bearish, which it is. Not assuming, it is. Okay? So that in mind, remember, we're in a range. It's going to remain bearish until it's not. But nonetheless, your very important level, remember, we were dissecting this leg, like this low to this high, this leg. Your very important level is 57K. Okay? Very, very important. Why? Because number one, like I said, the last 2 weeks virtually have been up only. Zero longs have been tested, and the world doesn't work that way. But not only that, when you draw your structure like this, remember, based on structure rules, you are allowed to come all the way back to this low while still remaining bullish if you SFP that low, right? It's standard SFP rules and such, just like here, just like we talked about in the last video, right? Here you SFP'd the low, so then you came and you attacked the high. It's as simple as that. So now that we had this bullish internal break of structure, A, we're expecting a pullback, which we're kind of getting right now, which is wonderful. And B, and wonderful for my short and your short if you shorted with me on YouTube. And B, we know that price can come all the way back down if it wants to, while still remaining bullish to maintain that higher, low, higher, high formation. Okay? Which means it could bounce from 65. It could bounce from 63.5, like I'm expecting it to at least stop there and range there. Or it could SFP the low. Now, how do you know? Well, it's very simple. When you don't see the confirmation here, like we didn't on this swing long this morning that I wasn't too keen on longing because it didn't look that good, then you don't take the trade. So if you don't get in here because there's no confirmations here, then you wait for the next level. And then so forth. Why could this low be problematic at this moment in time? Well, I can't assume this low is going to come until this low is lost, or this zone is lost, right? But something that we talked about on the channel before as well is we front ran the 12-hour order block, okay? We front ran it. Now, I did not get into this long, and that doesn't mean that I'm not in any longs, and that doesn't mean that I have not taken any longs. So let me just take this quick side tangent and say I find it very comical when idiots on Twitter and idiots on YouTube leave comments to me saying, "Oh, buddy missed the whole long from 58K, and now he's saying he's right." First of all, I said my line in the sand was 71K or 71.1. We have to break it with conviction, and we're not. Second of all, just because I didn't long from the exact low, listen, I'm not like you. I can trade from anywhere. You may not be able to do that, but I can. So I don't need to catch this exact low, because if you long this low, okay, assuming you long this low without gambling, where would you have even put your stop loss? Like, at the very least, it would have had to have been below this low. So I'm going to give you, literally, for the benefit of the doubt, I'm going to give you the exact penny stop loss that you would have needed to have, and the exact penny entry, which is impossible, and I'm going to give you the exact penny exiting, which is also impossible, okay? So at best, at the very best case scenario, if you weren't gambling, you have a 7.6 risk to reward. Congratulations. This trade here that I took, yes, on YouTube, is a 7.4 risk to reward. I had the same trade as you did. Anyways, I just wanted to take that opportunity to make you look even more foolish. Not you that's watching. If you are not one of them bums that are worried about what I'm doing instead of your own wallet, then, you know, not you, but the people that, anyways, I just had to throw that quick jab. I had to throw that quick jab real quick. So, why could we SFP that low? Damn, that was an aggressive tangent. Why could we SFP that low? Because we front ran that order block. And just like we illustrated very clearly here, when you SFP this low, it's not an SFP on the 4, but it was on the 6, on the 8, whatever. When you SFP that low and the target becomes the high, it's the same thing. So remember your structure, right? Remember your internal upward structure. It's low, oops. It is low, high, low, high, low, high. If you SFP that low, like hitting that 12-hour zone, then your target becomes the high, okay? So it's actually very bullish if it SFPs that low. Now, it doesn't have to. It could stop at this level, right? We don't know. It doesn't have to. But in the event that that happens, we are prepared for it in the Nexus, and I'm prepared for it, okay? I've said many times I don't think this is the move that's going to take you to 100K because it doesn't make sense to, at least for me. Now, if you think otherwise, don't let me influence your decision. However, I'm telling you what I'm doing. So far, what I've been doing is doing well, okay? So, what now? Well, if we're keeping those levels in mind, if you start to lose that level, listen, first of all, what I said at the high, 70, the reason why 70.1 is my line in the sand is because the same thing that we just did on the lows in terms of structure, remember, your external structure is still this. This is still your primary structure, right? It's this. Everything else is internal, wherever the 49, right here. Everything else is internal, which means the same thing that we talked about twice now in this video. If you SFP this high, right? If you SFP that high, that becomes an SFP, then your target becomes the low. And so the reason that I'm saying that I want, with conviction, a break and my line in the sand is 70.1 is because if you break structure, if you don't SFP it, if you do push up here, then that's a break, which means it's safer to assume that the low is in. And I'm not convinced yet, okay? That's me, right? Anyways, that said, I think that that high is going to get touched inevitably because I think that there's a, well, not I think, there is a lot of liquidity above that high. But I don't think it's going to come as smooth as everybody thinks. I think everybody is looking at this weekly candle. That's the biggest weekly candle, and you broke the trend and whatever. I don't think life works that way. I think that we are potentially setting up for a Black Swan event. However low they decide to send it for the Black Swan event is fair play, okay? Is fair game. I don't know. Remember, I can't make predictions. I can only tell you what I'm doing. And I can only tell you, if it does this, then I'm looking to do this. If it does that, then I'm looking to do that. If it does this, then I'm looking to do that. Okay? I'm already in my short and I'm holding it because I'm aware that everybody is not a little bit, way too bullish. Way too bullish. And I think that similar to the last cycle, which it looked very much so. Look, oh, bull flag. right? What happened? What happened? Bam. Geo, COVID. Yeah, you know what? It was COVID. It was. Absolutely. And that is a black swan event. But we're on the brink of war right now as well. So maybe, just maybe, you get another black swan event. I'm not saying it, and I'm not trading towards it, and I'm not keeping in my mind that it has to be a black swan event, right? That this has to happen. No, there's nothing that has to happen in crypto or in trading for that matter. But when was the last time that you had a very big move without getting some form of fake out first? And I have to ask, myself, I'm asking myself just with simple logic, and maybe I'm wrong. And again, it doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what you think, right? It doesn't matter if there might be a black swan or there isn't. At the end of the day, if there is one, there is one. If there isn't, there isn't. If there's a confirmation here, I'm going to take the trade. And then if there's no confirmation for shorts here, then I will hold it up as high as I can. I can scalp, as I showed you earlier in this video, I can get in anywhere and get the same risk to reward, or if not better, than when you catch the exact bottom. Okay? So I don't care, right? I don't care about the direction, but I can't help but just think like, ooh, man, I don't know. When was the last time we had a massive range? Like, look at how much time they gave you to buy. They gave you 3 months. Half of this range, a little bit less, 40% of this range. They've given you 40% of the entire range to buy. Anyways, that's another video for another. Like, I'm not here to predict. I'm not here to say it's gonna do this, it's gonna do this, black swan this, black swan that. We're here talking about right now. But right now, I think we're going lower. I think it's time to punish the longs. I think that the longs have had a free ride for so long, no pun intended, and I just think we're going lower from here. I think that people are aggressively bullish. Apparently open interest is at an all-time high for this year. And again, when was the last time that open interest was at an all-time high for this year, or for however long, and then they just continued to give you the free money all the way up to 100K, 150K, 200K, like everybody is suggesting? When was the last time that happened? Show me. If you can find it in the charts, please show me. And that's not me being condescending. Like, genuinely, if you can find a scenario where that has happened, please show me, because I'm very curious. I would like to compare the two. Anyways, aside from all the black swan stuff and, who cares? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Right now, there's no black swan, so who cares? But right now, it is looking like this is going to be a decent high. Perhaps we come to 63.5 and then we come up to 71. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Perhaps we come down to 63 and then we go to 71. That is also what I'm looking for. Perhaps we SFP 57 and then come to 71. That is what I'm looking for. If things change, then I will let you know. I can't tell you which one of these zones are going to work, because if we're even going to go down, because I don't have a crystal ball. But what I can tell you is that if something does something, then I will pay attention and watch it. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. And, I'm here to take the market. I'm here to react to the market and be sustainable and be profitable over time. I'm here to control my narrative and build my financial freedom, as you should as well. So I encourage you very much so not to marry the idea that it has to go up, not to marry the idea that it has to go down, just like I'm not marrying the idea that there has to be a black swan. However, I am aware of the possibility, and I am at the very least a little bit more cautious, but at least I'm not ignorant to, you know what, maybe they do flush you down one more time and attack some of these longs when it's been nothing but up only. They're leaving liquidity and open interest is at an all-time high for the year. But that's all stuff that's irrelevant to us right now. Guys, if you like the content, make sure to like and subscribe. Not only that, hit the notification bell so that when I go live and we're in a key zone like we were, I believe this was on a Sunday or Sunday night, you can short it with me. I gave the exact short as I was doing it, and I even talked you through it. So even if you didn't catch the live, go and watch it, because you learn a lot. I draw my demand. I watch the reactions. I'm analyzing market cipher B. We're hitting this level. We're talking about the Nexus. So it's all there. And if you would like to join the Nexus, make sure you join. The link is in the description down below. Aside from that, I have a free Discord. Link is also in the description down below. Twitter's in the description down below. You guys get it, man. Now get out of here. I'll catch you guys next time. Trade safe, my friends.